There we go. I believe we are live. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Love Speaks Love. I'm Denise, your host, and my amazing guest today is Cody Jupiter. How do you pronounce your surname? Is it Phettaplace?
Yes, I can't believe you actually pronounced it right. Most people don't.
Yay! Yeah, I've learned how to spell it in the last few days. In the beginning, I had to have your Facebook thing up, and I was like, "Yep, I've got all the T's, got it all in there." All right. I'm just gonna, just while we're starting and waiting for people to arrive, I'm just gonna share this and double check that we're live and the sound is good. Oh, we have people watching. Hello, everybody. Okay, so I'm just gonna share it to my pages and share it to a few groups as well. If anybody watching feels to share at any point, that is always gratefully appreciated on my part.
I should
Okay.
actually do that on my Facebook real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I should share it on my own.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that will do, I think. So I've got Facebook open so I can see any comments that are there too.
Perfect.
Um, okay, so Cody and I can't even remember how we kind of got together. I assume I reached out to you. It's ages ago. I would say it's like a year and a half ago maybe, but I can't do time.
I think we either got hooked up through either
Michael?
Michael Whitefeather, I
Yeah,
believe, my dear brother, and then we just were kind of like doing some activations,
yeah.
and then we just kind of split for a little while, and then here we are again.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it works quite often, isn't it? And sometimes you come
Mm-hmm.
together and you never come together again, and sometimes you come together and it kind of weaves in that way. So this is a really organic kind of chat. Sometimes I have questions written down, sometimes I don't. I will be making some notes as we go along. But I normally start because one of my dreams really is that people live and work and speak and act and just be from their heart space. And so one of the things that I like to do at the beginning is just to bring us into our heart space. And then, you and I are chatting from our heart space. Not that we wouldn't be if we didn't do this, but it kind of just feels like it strengthens that to me.
Yes, I can already feel the energy just like pulling me, you know.
Awesome.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so I invite anybody watching as well to just bring your awareness to your heart space, and you can do this either eyes open, eyes closed. Obviously, if you're driving a car, then keep your eyes open. So let us just breathe into our heart space, breathe love. And as we do that, we can often feel our heart space expanding. And that love spreads from your heart into every cell of your body. And connecting our hearts together, Cody, and feeling us all together in one unified field of love. You and I, everybody watching live, and everybody who watches on the replay on Facebook or on YouTube. And connecting our hearts to the heart of Gaia. So just expanding or extending that heart awareness out so that we're feeling ourselves within the field of love of Gaia. And feeling her love for us, her recognition of us, and her gratitude for all that we are, all that we do. And connecting our hearts to the heart of the sun and the heart of Source Creator. And feeling ourselves within that unified field of love. One heart, one love. Okay, so if your eyes are closed, just opening them whenever you're ready. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, this feels really good, and I'm sure that towards the end or whenever it feels aligned, we'll be bringing in some codes too.
Absolutely. I can already feel them coming through.
Yeah. So for those people that don't know you, Cody, I wonder if you could share kind of some of your journey, really, and how you came to be doing what you're doing now, how that journey's been for you.
Okay,
Whatever.
I'll do the short version of what I feel I'm supposed to say. Um, well, a few things that are really speaking to me is, for one, I have a speech impediment. So for 27 years of my 30-year life, I had extreme social anxiety. I was in like this box essentially. And then I was also an addict for about 14 years, and that's actually how I had my awakening. I've been sober for almost 3 years now. And just with all of that, all the trauma and suffering with all of this stuff, and I got to a point about 5 years ago where I knew that something in my soul was calling me to help all these other individuals who were in my life. Because I was still in the place of like not believing that like I deserved to be healed, as well. And then throughout that, I started studying and practicing all different forms of energy work. And I ended up healing myself as well throughout all of this. But now I'm just kind of dedicated my life to helping people overcome their biggest challenges and then empowering themselves, because we're here to we all have our own plan, and I think that true joy and soul satisfaction comes from like being able to express that and live that. So I just want to help people do that.
Awesome.
Hmm.
So you said in there something I want to just pick up on there. You said in there that part of your while you were still going through your addictions, that's when your awakening started.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, do you want to share more on that?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna get super vulnerable and transparent. Um, so the last 3.5 years of my addiction, I was using meth, and I would stay up for days at a time. So I would usually stay up for like 3 days and then sleep for 6 hours. But I had this event happen where I was up for like 9 days, and just in this instant, everything just kind of snapped, and I could see how everything was connected. I seen all these strings connecting all these events and situations and people, and despite me being in the state I was in, I still like knew in my soul, I was like, this is actually real. And then from that point on, I knew that I had to search, I had to find stuff, I had to study, I had to, because my whole life up until that point, like I've always felt the stuff I do now, but like it wasn't tangible. I wasn't able to really hop into it. And that was just my, hey, like here it is. This is your calling, and now you need to go and find it, essentially.
Yeah, wow. And so those strings and connections that you were aware of, was that like linking back in the past as well? Was that like linking people in the now, or was it kind of going beyond time and space, really?
It was kind of everything. It was like showing me how all of these situations and like interactions I've had have prepared me for that moment. And then also in the present, it showed me how all these interactions with all these people, places, and things, like there was a plan behind it, I guess is the easiest way, you know. Um, so it also made me feel like I wasn't alone, because I've always felt that way. I just always felt kind of placed here on this rock by myself, I guess. Um, it just showed me that we're all together in this, like there's a plan, there's a universal intelligence that is like behind the scenes, even though we can't see it. Um, and that is really like one of the biggest blessings in my life now, is because I am kind of able to tap in and like see the higher plan and perspective, like behind stuff, which it really helps me to get out of like my own self suffering, and like to basically understand that, um, like for instance, the last 3 weeks I've been in it. I've been going through a dark night of the soul. Like I just lost my grandmother and like all of this other stuff. And it hurts obviously because I'm human and I'm supposed to feel all this stuff, but like I've been able to detach still, and to see like what am I learning throughout this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it just makes stuff like that a lot easier for me. Plus, I can help other people as well, like being able to point out that stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It really does put a completely different perspective on things, doesn't it? When you kind of on
Hmm.
this journey that so many of us are on now, it's such a different place to be when something happens in your life, instead of being in that either poor me for this going on, or whatever it is. It kind of, instead we can go, okay, I'm feeling this and I'm not trying to stop myself from feeling this, because in a way that's kind of bypassing those emotions. But what's the bigger picture here? Like what am I learning?
Hmm.
Even learning I'm kind of not entirely comfortable with, but what is, in what ways am I growing from this? I prefer growing to
Hmm.
learning, really. In what ways am I expanding from this? And that goes for everything, like all across whatever happens, even the
Hmm.
really beautiful things as well. Like often we don't question things when it's really beautiful. It's only when life is hard that we put those questions of like, why is
Oh,
this going on?
for the most part, I mean, I got caught up in this stuff too, though, when life started to go into to these places of like me receiving the stuff that I've been working for. I would get caught up in my own self suffering, even with that, because it's like, I don't know if I deserve this. Is this real? I'm so used to like this paradigm of like reality, and I've been fighting for this and I have it now, but like, what's going to happen next type thing? That is a lot of self work I have to do to get there, and still I'm doing today, even.
Yeah. I'm curious if you went through the 12-step program,
I am involved in a 12-step program, yes.
because for a lot of people, like your spiritual awakening seemed to happen before that, but it seems that a lot of people, that program just seems to like something connects on that level. Um, is there anything, I don't know quite what I'm asking you here, but is there
I'm
anything you
super
want to
happy you
share on
brought it up,
that?
though. Yes, for a lot of different reasons. So, I will. I will like honor the anonymity of my program by like leaving it anonymous. But yes, I do work a 12-step program. It has been life altering. The support that I've received in there, people mentoring me, and then like me also helping people. Um, I'm in a really weird place with my program, which actually just started last week, which I'm assuming why you brought it up. So the program that I work, um, I wouldn't say that it's very strict and solid, but that like I have kind of taken it on like that because I had to be like that, like I started using when I was 12 years old, So like through my whole life, like I didn't actually know how to function as a human without having all these altering things in my life. And I mean, even like paying an energy healer, the first like year and a half of my sobriety, I was using my energy healing to kind of uh, replace my addiction, But I'm in this place now where I am really like being called to plant medicine. And I've been struggling with that internally because I've been completely absence free, for almost 3 years. But I have this deep calling in my soul, and like even like before getting sober, I would use psilocybin every spring, and it just completely flipped all these switches in my head, Um, so it's just kind of hard to because I've been here for so long and I'm feeling I'm supposed to break free from some of the conditioning of that program to experience what my soul is calling me to, So it's just kind of like this conflicting thing. But I think I'm now at the place where like I'm gonna do what I feel I need to do, and like just because I want to use ayahuasca and psilocybin for like shamanic rituals, like that still doesn't mean that I'm not sober and that I'm not also in recovery still, So I'm really happy you brought that up because I really needed to verbally process that, And plus that ties in like with me as an energy healer. I work in like at a really high dimensional frequency consciousness areas. But I'm being called to step into my shamanic side now, and I think through plant medicine is how I want to do that. So it's also really exciting at the same time and still being super confusing and a struggle to work through. It's just that higher perspective of it.
And I guess with the program and the mentorship, there is an expectation that you are sober, full stop. Is that kind of how it is, or was that what you were saying before? That's just been your interpretation of it.
Well, there has been, at least with the people who are in my own circle. But that being said, too, my mentor, who I had for over 2 years, who is actually like my best friend now, I stopped that relationship about 3 months ago. I've been asking like being my sponsor, um, and I found this new individual who is amazing. He is, excuse me if I get like pronouns and stuff wrong, but he is a transgender man who is also a pastor who teaches the teachings of his religion in like this beautiful way. He was like speaking about like because like he studies all like the histories of religion and stuff. He was having a conversation the other day, and he's like, my conception of Jesus is a transgender queer who was an immigrant. And I was like, that's amazing. Like if you said that to people, their minds would be blown. But like it anyway, like I'm not gonna go off on that, but it was really cool. But like he uses CBD. His sponsor actually uses edibles to like eat. His sponsor's wife actually uses micro dosing for psilocybin. So like this whole new world of like plant is medicine, because it absolutely is. You know, we've been using it for the existence of humanity. um it's just a beautiful concept that I am now letting myself see and feel. And especially too with the stuff with COVID, and you know, there's like possibility of mandating these vaccines and stuff. My soul is like, hell fucking no. You know, I don't want that. I'm going to go this holistic approach. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, interesting.
Hmm.
Um, I've been watching I've been watching a lot of stuff on Gaia. It seemed to there seemed to be a run, I guess maybe because I no, I think one just came up on its own about ayahuasca. And then after that, lots of other ones followed on from that just came up on the feed of it,
Hmm.
one after the other. And it was very interesting. And somewhere along all the shows that I watched, and this is probably going to be a bit controversial, but it was talking about the mushroom that may or may not have been mentioned in the Bible, that there was, and whether this is just something that was open to interpretation, but some people were interpreting that as Jesus having taken hallucinogens. Have you ever heard that?
No, but I mean, I'm smiling for a reason, you know. Um, I wouldn't. It's, yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, how do people come into the states of like doing, you know, the stuff that we are? Usually, it's not through everyday life. You know, it's through some extreme experience, either some extreme struggle, pain, uh, using some sort of chemical to expand us, etc. You know, so I wouldn't. It would make sense to me. You know.
And there's many ways that you can get to that place as well. Like you say,
Mm-hmm.
it can be a spontaneous thing that just happens with people, or it can be the result of trauma, um, or even within those, like going through bereavement, going through something huge like the loss of somebody. As you're actually in that space, it's like you get a lot more open. It's like some of the veils get thinner or are removed. In the same way that as we're falling to sleep, there's that space before we fall asleep where we're much more open. I know for me, before my awakening, those were the times that sometimes I'd hear my name being called, and you wake up thinking, who just said that? And I say you wake up, but you're not quite asleep. You're just in that space in
Mm-hmm.
between. And the same as we're waking. And maybe this is something to do with our brain waves as well, that maybe we're in theta waves, or something, that
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of much more receptive at those times. But there are many ways that that veil can be reduced.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%.
So you mentioned that you've done different healing modalities. What kinds of
Yeah.
thing what kinds of thing have you learnt, been through, experienced?
Lots of Reiki, you know, six like different modalities. The latest being like Holy Fire, which I also teach now. It's amazing energy. I do light language, Theta healing in my own way, sacred activations. And then I created my own modality called Stargate Reiki, which I'm still kind of putting all the pieces together how I want to teach that, but it's the healing stuff, that I do now, and it's actually evolving. The last like 6 sessions I've had with clients, I've been able to create this sacred space. Like we spoke about it like before we hopped on, and there just is something with creating space right now. The best way that I can describe it, at least the stuff that's been shown to me, is that like this specific energy is like I'm able to influence the brain waves and puts us into the the cycle that the person like needs to be in, or even fluctuate throughout the healing session, and it's really awesome to play with right now. I mean, but outside of that, I mean, I do a little bit of everything. I do ancestral clearing, trauma healing. I'm activating people's abilities, like DNA activations, blah 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 blah. So I kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we, I don't know if you remember this, but I've been down the many roads of Reiki as well. Um, so it started for me with the traditional Yuzui attunement, and then I think next came the Tibetan Reiki, um, Angel Reiki, which I don't think is the same as angelic Reiki.
I think it's a little bit of a different frequency.
Yeah, and I've never heard since. I think there were two Reiki. Someone downloaded this in the States, and she taught two English Angel Reiki masters, and I was taught by one of those. So as far as I'm aware, I was the third Angel Reiki master in this country, but I've never really heard of it since. And I don't know. I hear of angelic Reiki, but I feel it's a slightly different frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And Anubis Reiki as well. And I also did Theta one and two. I didn't go up past that. So I've shared some of your journey there. Um, and I've kind of bringing something in called crystal light. And I don't know whether to call it Reiki. Sometimes I say crystal light Reiki. I'm not clear at this stage whether to call it Reiki. There are symbols and there is an attunement.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to ask you, because when I learned Reiki, the way that I looked at it was that when you receive your attunement, and this can happen when people have a session, but particularly when you receive your Reiki attunement, so when you're being, as I used to say, tuned into a particular frequency of energy,
Mm-hmm.
that it connects you to source. And I still kind of feel there's truth in that, but I feel sometimes we're given information that isn't the full story, but
Yep.
it gets us to know more of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like when you have your attunement that the veil is popped in
Yep.
certain places.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered if there's anything you wanted to share on that, like what you feel happens. I don't know if it does connect you to a particular frequency of energy. I still feel that it does, but I'm not 100%.
So this is my thoughts and like my personal experience with it. Reiki at its core is using universal energy. You know, um, I do feel that specific modalities allow you to tap into more like of a specific energy. So a like very easy way to like view this is there's earth, fire, water, and air. So like this attunement, like maybe a little more of like this fire energy over here, and like proceeding like that. But the energy is all still very similar. Um, And I also think a large part of it too is like we're all kind of like need like different information. So if like when all that was taught was strictly traditional Yusui, um, like we wouldn't have all these like variations and all these like different guidebooks and all these like different techniques, and then all these like different teachers with all these different beliefs, you know. So for all I know, it still may be the exact same energy, but it's just like I had to be here with this individual because I needed to hear this, you know. Um, the the thing I can speak on because like so with my modality, it's using the universal energy of like different star systems, and it also draws an energy from other like multi-dimensional like realities, which is really amazing because through the stuff that I bring through, it can like bring through specific energies and frequencies and consciousness that aren't yet present here on the earth plane, but we actually like need and are really helpful, you know. But at the end of the day, I think it's all just manipulating universal energy from a place of working in the highest good for everybody,
Yeah.
you know. I think that's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that answer. And what dropped in was the words frequency bandwidth.
Hmm.
So we are connecting to source. It's source energy. Universal life force energy is source energy, but there are
Hmm.
different bandwidths of source energy.
Yes.
So if you receive a Usui attunement, it won't necessarily be the same frequency bandwidth as a Usui attunement that you receive from somebody else, because it depends partly on that person, partly on who attuned them, but a lot of it has to do with that person's energy and how much energy they can bring through too. If someone is very open, if they're a very clear channel, the energy is going to be stronger. It's probably going to be a higher frequency bandwidth than someone who perhaps hasn't done as much work on themselves, hasn't released as much of the denser energy,
Hmm.
let's say. Um, Karuna Reiki was another one that I did, by the way.
It's my favorite like energy with Reiki.
Yeah,
Kuan Yin is my guide, so she's yeah, and like that's her energy. At least that's how
yeah.
I feel about it. Can I speak on
Mm.
something? So with the Holy Fire Yasuo and Corona that I teach, about 3-4 years ago, they stopped doing annual attunements, and like they now do ignitions. So you are attuned straight from source. So your practitioner, or not your practitioner, your teacher can't lower your vibration through like doing an attunement, and then that's also how like I've always done them. So like I go straight to source for
Yeah,
like basically anything I need,
yeah,
because it just like bypasses the metal man who actually like may be harming you because their frequency is not the stuff that you actually need, you know. I just thought that was really important to say.
yeah. Interesting,
Hmm.
interesting. Um, yeah, that's even that as a concept that someone can kind of lower your energy through a Reiki attunement is like that hasn't really been in my field. Perhaps because of the people that I met, but I can see how that could happen.
Hmm.
And I'm the same. And I can't remember if I was doing this before theta healing, but in theta healing, you're connecting to source. So certainly since then, and it's always felt to me like you've got this source connection, but there are other beings with you, like angels, archangels, ascended masters, who are kind of around you and with you. So their energy is coming in too, but actually it's source energy that is directly coming into my crown and out of my hands.
Hmm.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you for bringing that bit up. Um, Now I'm just looking at the time and feeling into whether now is the time to start doing bringing in some codes. What do you reckon?
Um, why not? I mean, I'm always ready to, so.
I think I'm going to hand over to you first. Are you comfortable with that?
That's fine. Um, all right. Well, I'm just gonna do some light language. I believe at least. I think there's gonna be a little bit more than light language. Um, we're just gonna flow with it. Okay. So I'm gonna create some sacred space as well. Um, so like this is the energy that I've been using in my sessions lately. So we're gonna take some deep breaths, grounding ourselves in the here and now, expanding that heart space even a little more. Above our heads, a beautiful golden orb of light starts to descend upon us, clearing out our higher chakras and activating them, going through our galactic chakra, our stellar, our soul star, coming in through the crown of our head, our third eye, our throat, our higher heart, and then anchoring in our heart. And as this energy starts to meld like with the beautiful threefold flame in our heart, the energy starts to expand throughout our field. And below us, a beautiful silver orb of light starts to ascend through our lower chakras, clearing and activating them. Coming up to our Earth Star, through our feet, and then our link chakra, our base, our sacral, solar plexus, and then our heart. These three energies start to expand throughout our field, clearing and cleansing and holding sacred space around us. We ask now that any and all beliefs and energies and ancestral karma that we are holding on to that is causing us to tout ourselves, to see others or source as separate from us, now be removed. Sikaya na era yania esu kania esara esu yunukuya na eara isiki na ekunu. Sihana era esu kuya na ekasa era euno sukunu. Sihana era isikia na ekusu na era asakana eso. Saniakera asana kasura. Hanakera onia sekuya. We now activate the understanding and beliefs inside of us, knowing that source energy is inside of us, inside of others, lifting and removing that veil. Sikana era esukuya eonokosu. Sahana era esu nakia ye ono esakanya ero osuku. Sihana era isikana era osuku yana esa naka esa. If there's anything that you feel you're supposed to bring through, Denise, I'm gonna hand it over to you now.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Iad erane hian ore I brana kata ost ai mekile iaton ol ahan ikera mokoishtarare ia koron oet an mist ara ia pal kiest oi mala ikia no kora it an ikt ia ut uist it ia Mikila aran ukod ara me kial kia ut un ast aran ukol hal ehian mele it ora. Mikila an kole ist al ehian be aran ukol eran yakat un ast ui. Hol eran yakan ekuistara. Mole iarana kon ara it ina a kikikit ist. Hol ahan ka. Mokola arana kieparan ut un. Kole hia era. Ol ahyan ba el ekut un karot un ikst iaktakata niakt un. Hol aran iakadon ukoi ia hartakitiki ikut un ikito ura. Portai na kitela bera. Iest ut ara. Hol ekian ihron kutun. Baile kiano oi ai. Mekila aran ukod ast oi ikit ist. Hal ekian ura. Hol arani kiana ut un ea. Kol ia ast a. Boi al eron ukon ai bare iakut un. Hola a ikut un stai ikia aron ukokokokoya tatata a.
Whew. Oh, that was so funny because throughout our conversation of, Reiki is attuning us to source energy, I was like, something doesn't feel right there. And like the best way like I can describe it is we hold a lot of the energy inside of us already,
Yeah.
but it's like through each attunement we're popping the next layer of that veil that makes us believe that the energy is outside of us,
Yes.
or that we don't have it. There's a whole lot more there that I'm still kind of processing energetically, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that one. And it's my heart was really joyful when you brought in about the separation in that too. Because it is the biggest illusion. And in a way, having a Reiki attunement helps you kind of like let go of that illusion, because you realize not only that you're not separate, but that it's all in here.
Mm-hmm.
And that you are that energy, and you are source energy. We are just fractals with the mini of the maxi kind of thing.
Yeah. The only thing I was really hearing throughout it was as within, so without,
Yeah.
Because even as I was calling in like the energy from source and earth, there was still this part of me that was expanding that exact same energy from like my own heart space, you know?
Yeah.
So things to think about and ponder.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been pondering. It's 1919 here, just as we're talking about this. Um, I've been pondering a lot about this because it is like we're given information, because if we tell the absolute truth at the start, we can't quite grasp it. It's too
Hmm.
much for us. So we are given like snippets to get us to a greater truth, and it's not those things are wrong exactly, but they're not all of it. They're they're
Hmm.
they're just little nuggets that we're ready for, that we can understand. And then once our brain kind of gets to that place of acceptance of, yeah, okay, I get that, then we're given a bigger slice of the information. Because there's so much at the moment that we've been taught on the spiritual journey that I'm really questioning. Like
Oh,
even
absolutely.
yeah, even saying positive energy and negative energy still feels like polarity
Hmm.
in there. That's why I tend to say denser, and I can relate to denser because it does feel like it's a heavier energy. It's not good or bad, but it's a heavier
Hmm.
kind of energy that we're letting go of.
I like think it's important though to really understand that wherever we are though is still exactly where we need to be. Like, you know, like the beliefs that we hold, the things that we're taught, are still serving us in some way, you know. And my truth and my experiences are my own, you know. And if a thing that I say like doesn't resonate like with the individual, like that's fine. There's not like that's not a reason to start like an argument or a war over, you know, because my beliefs are right and yours aren't. It's like I really love just being in this space of just like being completely understanding of everyone. I'm like, hey, that's where you are. I totally like respect it. I mean, I'm probably going to even learn something from you if I can actually like open my own mind and like not be so like rigid in my own, you know, beliefs and stuff like that. Um, you know, we all are exactly like where we're supposed to be, and I'm always expanding. And like the beliefs I had like last week aren't even the beliefs I have this week, and that's fine. And I don't think that that's like ever going to end, nor do I want it to, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally hear you on that. I've had so many big changes of what I felt the universe was in my time. Like, 360. I didn't believe for a long time that there was a creator. I felt that all this was by chance. Um, and to be where I am now from that belief and understanding of what the world was, they're poles apart, those two. And all the way along this, you kind of feel that you know something, and then this other thing comes in, and you're like, "Whoa, what's that? What's that? That
Oh man.
that doesn't fit with my model of the universe that I have inside my head." And then you think, "Where's the model in my heart?" It's been a big journey to move from head to heart.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just really trying to tie them
Yeah,
together at this point. You know, I don't want to be like have like one part of me like be the primary thing. I just want to be in a alignment where like this place plays in with this place with,
yeah,
you know, because that's at least for myself, that's where I can show up as my best self, you know.
yeah. I totally hear that, and I'm not I'm not in any way knocking the head either. It's not about just getting rid of the head altogether, as you say. It's about joining them together.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be heart led. I would like my heart to be leading my brain rather than the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but it's, yeah, for me, it's not about forgetting about the head altogether because it does a really good job. It's trying really hard all the time to kind of like make make sense of things and you know work things out. And it must be really frustrating for their heads sometimes to not be able to work things out. Like, like light language is not really, it's not a place of the head so much. It's, it kind of bypasses the head. And
Mm-hmm.
what must that be like for it? It's seeing all these things happening, going, what, what?
That's why I love it. Like light language is so fun because it's just not supposed to make sense. I mean, like I'm blessed that because I surrender so deeply into the flow of it. Like I'll get like little snippets, you know, like this is a small part that is happening that you need to let everyone know, you know. But that's just like the smallest of like all these other things that are happening. But I'm fine with that, because I don't want to understand. I don't need to know exactly everything that's happening. And just I remember when I first started with it, especially even too before Reiki, because I started in like ritualistic, like energy work. Like you would have everything in place, everything was very structured, and then I moved into Reiki, where it's flow, and I'm trying to control this energy, and then from there I do light language, a thing that I don't understand. I only understand it in my soul that I want to speak it. And plus, I don't stutter when I speak it. And that really spoke to me too. Like, this is your true, authentic language, And I'm like, all right, I don't understand, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I think that's really, I find that really quite interesting that you don't stutter when you speak light language.
I know. I
I
don't know
think,
why. I don't need to right now, but.
yeah, I'm quite, because I still have this scientific mind that wants to make sense of things.
Hmm.
My years of nursing and being very left brain and questioning of things is a good thing as far as I'm concerned. And it's still very much in there. But I am really quite intrigued by that. Like, what is either bypassed in the brain or if it's like settling something or is it just more of the throat like yeah, I don't know.
Um, so like I want to start to learn Spanish and French.
Hmm.
And I have this feeling that once I start to speak these other languages, that I won't actually stutter in those languages. So the only thing that like I can feel is like for myself, there's some sort of distortion in the actual like English language and like the energy and the vibration that
Mm,
it holds. This obviously may not be true, and I'm just speculating with how I'm feeling inside, But that's just how I kind of feel right now about it. We'll see what transpires with it.
that's really interesting.
Hmm. But also, on the other hand, me stuttering, I mean, my social anxiety was so severe for like almost my whole life. Like I couldn't even introduce myself to people. And now here I am on the show. So me speaking that story is also going to give other like a people inspiration. Like if he can overcome this thing that essentially caged him into a box and to be here, like that's inspirational, because if I can do this, you guys can do it too with, like whatever that may be. Um, So it is still a very unique part of my story that I can now draw strength on, and I can share that with, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really honor you. I honor you for the journey that you've taken, because it's not been an easy 30 years that you've
To
chosen. But I
say the least.
also, yeah, but it is really inspirational. And I think a lot of us who are doing this kind of stuff now, and stepping out and being seen, it's not our natural way of being.
No,
It's not,
no.
we didn't put our hand up and, well, obviously we did on some level, but it's not like when we were younger, we were like, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to be a chat show host. I want to stand in front of people that are all there with my heart on the line, being raw and vulnerable, and especially speaking light language publicly when there's so much linked to that in terms of, potential ridicule. That there's so much to that, but we're doing it because we have to. It's like our heart is
Uh-huh.
really pushing us forward and out of our comfort zones, which is an incredible thing to do, because, as you say, when you start to do it and you feel that, like, oh, wow, I just did that.
Hmm.
And not to mention the inspiration to other people.
I kind of feel I need to share something. Um, so I'm in this place now where like I can't not follow this path anymore. I've been trying to like start my own energy healing business and like doing all this other stuff for years. And like something has stopped me every time, other than like the universe will come back in and like how to make these extreme situations happen to where I have to hop like back over here on this path. And like 4 months ago, I went through the most excruciating pain of my life for about 7 weeks straight. So I actually had to stop my job, which it was a great job. I was making really good money. I was like the top person, but like the universe stepped up and was like, "You're not doing this anymore. I don't care what you say." And like now that that happened and I'm in the space of my heart, like my heart is just like keeps pushing me forward every day. And it's really beautiful too, because I have this belief now, or like, oh, maybe it's more of an understanding than a belief, that like this is exactly where I need to be and I can't go anywhere else, because I know if I step outside of this and I start to do anything else, something traumatic is going to happen that's going to bring me back, because I'm very stubborn, you know? Very stubborn and hard headed. And I just don't want that to happen anymore. So here I am, and I'm being led by my heart every day. And it's not easy, though, you know, it's really not, especially because if your heart's leading and your head is still back here, and you have all these beliefs and all these conditionings and stuff that you have to essentially work through to be able to be here, you know, like it's a lot of fucking work,
Yeah.
you know, but it's great. And especially because like if I do stuff on myself, usually that like links into me like doing collective work or ancestral work or just like a work on the earth itself, you know. So there's a reason for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely. So, do you have anything coming up that you want to share about? Any events coming up, or how can people
Yeah,
get hold of you?
I can share a few things. Let me see what the date is. Today's the 24th. The 12th. So, starting on December 12th, me and my co-teacher, I think she's still going to be a part of it, are teaching a Holy Fire Karuna class. It's a 3-day class. It's about 24 hours of training and healing and ignitions. It's like I did it on Lions Gate,
Hmm.
and it has completely transformed my whole life. That's actually why I'm here. You know, like doing all this stuff, speaking out, like doing interviews. Uh, Clients are now coming and all this other stuff. But the only thing is that you would have to register within the next like 6 days, because we have to ship you out manuals and stuff like that. Every Wednesday at 7 Central Time, Kelly and me to a Holy Fire talk. So like we do a healing experience, a Reiki share, like, and then I always speak light language at the end of it. You can find all this on my Stargate Reiki page on Facebook. I do free healing videos, usually twice a week on there. And then I also have my YouTube, which is Stargate Reiki, and my Instagram, which is Stargate Reiki. And the other thing is that my sessions are usually like 150. They last about an hour and a half to 2 hours. But for first time clients, it's only $50 right now. So
Still for the same length of time?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. So it's mainly all Stargate Reiki. If people
Stargate Reiki across the board.
Stargate Reiki.
And if you ever see this symbol, that is me. Stargate Reiki.
Just hold that a little bit longer, sweetheart, if you would.
Okay.
Please.
Stargate Reiki.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you enjoy this chat and you want to see more, there is a Love Speaks Love Facebook page where all the videos are on. There is also a YouTube channel called Inner Peace with Denise, where these and a lot of other bits and bobs are too. If anyone feels to share the video along, that is always really helpful. If you're feeling that you've benefited from it, or that other people that you know will. And these shows are from the heart. If anyone feels to offer a contribution, I will put my PayPal on there. But no obligation in that. These are, a lot of us do a lot of service work. It's part of what we do. It's yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether it's on the land privately or whether it's public things like this, it's kind of part of the course.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. I will stop the live stream. Thank you everybody who's joined us.
Bye everyone. This is amazing.
Much, Cody. Oh, and you're on with Todd tomorrow? Tom and Dina tomorrow?
I am. Actually, to me and my fiance are being interviewed about spiritual relationships and like all that shit. I don't really know exactly what we're doing. I just know that we're gonna be on tomorrow. So
brilliant. Do you know what time?
Noon Central Standard on Soology.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next week on Love Speaks Love. Bye.
Bye.